Hey everyone, Tara here, welcome back to the channel. So yeah, we have a lot of iPhones on the desk today, from the iPhone 11 all the way up to the newly released iPhone 17. I'm really excited about today's discussion because honestly, the landscape of buying an iPhone in 2026 has completely shifted. The iPhone 17 just dropped a few months ago, and wow, it's making a huge wave because finally, Apple gave the regular base model a ProMotion 120Hz display and much thinner bezels, plus they doubled the base storage to 256 gigabytes without raising the price from last year. But you know, it leaves a lot of people wondering, if you're sitting on an older iPhone, or you're just looking for a good deal on a used model, which one is actually worth your money right now? So today we're going to walk through all of these side by side. I'll share my actual day-to-day experiences with them, everything from performance, camera, and battery life to how they handle the brand new iOS 26. Let's just get right into it. Alright, let's start with the oldest one here, the iPhone 11. Mine is in this purple color. Now this isn't my main phone, it's mostly a secondary device I keep around for review purposes like this and just some light life updates. I actually just put a fresh battery in it, so health is at 100% and battery life is as good as it can get. It is running the absolute latest iOS 26, and I have to say I really appreciate that Apple still gave this a major upgrade 6 years later. The new liquid glass design language in iOS 26 is honestly so satisfying, but yeah, here's the reality. Because this hardware is 6 years old, the animations sometimes feel like they're in slow motion. It's just not fluid compared to the newer models. Plus, it gets warm really easily under heavy usage. And frankly, even with a new battery, it sucks for getting through a whole day. Modern apps are just too performance hungry. On Geekbench 6, I got 1775 for single core, 3844 for multi-core, and a Metal GPU score of 12477. For me, the iPhone 11 is just too old now. The camera doesn't even support night mode on the ultra-wide lens, and iOS 26 is almost certainly its last major update. It won't be getting iOS 27, so I'd pass on this one. Moving on to the iPhone 12 and 13. Now I have the 12 mini here in blue and the 13 mini in product red, but for full disclosure, everything I'm about to say applies perfectly to the regular 6.1-inch 12 and 13 models too, since they share the exact same internals. As a huge fan of compact phones, these always have a spot on my desk. My 12 mini is sitting at 86% battery health. It runs iOS 26 pretty well, and that liquid glass UI looks incredible on the OLED screen. It makes older software like iOS 18 feel so ancient. But the iPhone 12 was Apple's first 5nm chip and first 5G iPhone, and you can feel it. The thermal management is just not good. It easily gets warm just multitasking or doing some light gaming. On Geekbench 6, it scored 2107 single, 4610 multi, and 17053 for GPU. The performance is decent, but it only has 4 gigabytes of RAM. So if you're bouncing between Safari, social media, and YouTube, apps are going to force close and reload a lot. Because of the thermals and traditional OIS on the camera, I don't recommend the 12 right now. Let me actually elaborate a bit on that camera part, because it's a pretty big deal if you shoot a lot of stuff on your phone. The iPhone 12 still uses traditional OIS. Basically, just the lens barrel itself moves around to try and cancel out your handshakes. It was fine back then, yeah, but starting with the iPhone 13, Apple introduced sensor shift OIS across the board. That means the actual camera sensor inside is what's floating and stabilizing, which is way faster and more precise. In my day-to-day use, the gap is honestly huge. Like when I'm trying to grab some quick B-roll for a video, or even just snapping a night mode shot of my afternoon Americano in a dim cafe, the 12 really shows its age. You just end up with noticeably more blurry shots in low light, and the video is a bit too jittery if you're walking around. So yeah, combining that older traditional stabilization with those thermal issues, it's just a pass for me. Now the iPhone 13 mini here, this is a different story. Battery health is at 90%, and it's my go-to pocket backup. It runs iOS 26 surprisingly great. Initially it got warm right after the update, probably just re-indexing files, but after it's settled in, it's buttery. The battery standby time is fantastic. Geekbench gave me 2,317 single, 5,579 multi, and 18,773 GPU. I can even play demanding games smoothly, though it warms up during long sessions. The iPhone 13 is the bare minimum iPhone I'd recommend buying right now. The thermals are way better than the 12, and you get sensor shift OIS for the camera. The only bottleneck is it still has that 4GB of RAM, so app reloading is still an issue. And that brings us to the iPhone 14. I don't have one here on the desk, but I borrowed my colleague's unit the other day. Day to day, the 14 feels exactly like the 13 because they share the same A15 chip, but, and this is a big but, the iPhone 14 has 6GB of RAM. For nowadays apps, that 50% jump in RAM is a really significant experience upgrade. You just don't deal with the background app reloading nearly as much. If you can find a 14 for just like 50 to 75 bucks more than a 13, it is absolutely the better choice. Alright, now let's talk about the modern standard. My iPhone 15 in blue. It's been with me for a bit over a year, 98% battery health, around 200 cycles. I use it for beta testing, gaming, and just as a solid backup. Honestly, this is where iOS 26 really shines. I don't see much performance gap between this and the brand new phones. It's just buttery smooth. Geekbench scores are super solid. 2,648 singles, 6,560 multi, and 23,903 for the GPU. The 6GB of RAM handles multitasking like a champ, and high-end gaming is very playable. If you have a bit more money to spend, the iPhone 15 is the value king. You finally get USB-C, the 48 megapixel main camera, the dynamic island, and that really comfy frosted glass design with softer edges. The only downside, it doesn't support Apple Intelligence. But honestly, for me, that's not a deal breaker at all. Apple Intelligence is still kind of in its early beta-like stages, so I usually just use more powerful alternatives like Gemini or ChatGPT anyway. So yeah, the 15 is a phenomenal buy. Now we get to the awkward one, my pink iPhone 16. It's practically new, 100% battery, around 130 cycles. I game a lot on this, even AAA titles like Assassin's Creed Mirage. It plays well, though it drops frames and gets warm during long sessions. iOS 26 is incredibly fluid here, and I actually noticed battery improvements using the new adaptive power feature. Geekbench is great, 3,407 single, 8,645 multi, and 27,954 GPU. Plus, it has 8GB of RAM, so background app management is flawless. I don't say this is a bad phone, but you really need to avoid buying it right now. The positioning is just weird. The value isn't there because for the exact same launch price, you can get the iPhone 17. The biggest downside here is the 60Hz screen and the 128GB base storage. It just doesn't make sense to buy the 16 in 2026. And finally, the iPhone 17. Mine is in this gorgeous lavender, 100% health, at around 150 cycles. I use an iPhone 17 Pro as my absolute main daily driver, but this base 17 is my secondary. Guys, the upgrade this year is monumental. For the first time, the base model has a Pro Motion display scaling from 1Hz to 120Hz. It feels like a Pro model. It's 6.3 inches, up from 6.1, but because the bezels are noticeably thinner, the phone itself doesn't feel huge in the hand. The A19 chip is actually insane. We're talking 3,675 single core, 9,331 multi-core, and a metal GPU score of 37,707. That is literally faster than last year's 16 Pro Max. Everything from casual scrolling with that liquid glass UI to AAA gaming is just a flawless experience. Camera-wise, the bag gives you a new 48 megapixel ultra wide and some cool dual capture modes. But the real star is the new 18 megapixel front camera. It uses a new square sensor so you can shoot landscape video without actually turning your phone sideways. It's going totally viral right now, and I guarantee Android competitors are going to copy this immediately. So wrapping this all up, what is the best iPhone to buy in 2026? Skip the 11 and 12, they're just too old and hot. The iPhone 13 is your absolute bare minimum budget pick. The iPhone 14 is the smarter budget pick because of the RAM. The iPhone 15 is the sweet spot for modern features if you want to save some cash and don't care about Apple Intelligence. Skip the 16 completely. And the iPhone 17 is the absolute most worth buying iPhone right now. There are even rumors on the forums that Apple might delay the iPhone 18 to early next year instead of the usual September fall event, which means the 17 is going to hold its crown for even longer. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments which iPhone you are rocking right now, and if you're planning to upgrade, hit that like button if this helped you out, and I will see you in the next one.